Back in the days there were cell phones, then came the smartphone, and now the smartphone is dead and there are AI phones. Well, according to Samsung, when they released the S24 series, they said that's their first AI phone. I went hands-on with it and here are my thoughts. There's actually a lot of impressive artificial intelligence on the Galaxy S24 series, and I will talk about that in just a moment, but first let's take a look at the devices. They look a lot like their predecessors at the first glance, but there are some very nice improvements. The S24 and S24 Plus now have a matte armor aluminum frame and it is a bit more boxy. I think it not only looks great, but it also felt great in combination with the matte glass on the back. It's like one piece now. Also, scratches and fingerprints should be less noticeable. I do like it. The S24 Ultra now has a titanium frame and it feels pleasantly smooth, very similar to the iPhone 15 Pro, and even the color is almost identical. It's a bit cheeky how similar they are. In addition to the gray titanium, there's also a soft yellow and a deep black and an intense purple, but the frame on the latter one is just silver, which looks a bit strange to my eye. The S24 has the same colors but in slightly different saturations. Samsung builds the best displays on the market and of course they are treating themselves with their latest technology. Although the S24 and S24 Plus are the same size than their predecessors, the displays are 0.1 inch larger, so it's 6.2 and 6.7 inch respectively. This is possible because the bezels are 15% thinner. Here's a comparison next to the iPhone 15 Pro, which had the thinnest bezels before, and it looks very sexy and modern. All of the displays now have LTPO from 0 to 120 Hz and they get a maximum brightness of 2600 nits. That is an increase of almost 1000 nits compared to the predecessor. The S24 Plus and Ultra have Quad HD Plus resolution and the Ultra no longer has a curve. It's a completely flat display, but the bezels are actually thinner. Samsung says they did that to improve the S Pen use. I think they did it because the people wanted it, and fun fact, the small button on the S Pen is now made out of titanium. The glass of the S24 Ultra is also way more robust. It's the new Corning Gorilla Glass Armor, which has 75% less reflections. It's more times more resistant to scratches and impacts, and it consists of 25% recycled glass. Because there are generally speaking more recycled parts, the CO2 emissions over 3 years of lifespan have also been reduced. So from whatever angle you look at it, the design, the build quality, the display, the S24 series really delivers. The processor on the other hand in Europe, well, the S24 Ultra gets the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 and it is even the faster for Galaxy Edition with 12GB of RAM. The S24 and S24 Plus though have the Exynos 2400. Unfortunately, I was not able to run a benchmark, but Samsung says that it is definitely more powerful than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and on par with the Gen 3. If that is the case, that is great, and my detailed review will take a close look at this, also in terms of energy efficiency, so please consider subscribing to Orbit. I still have my doubts about the Exynos, but you shouldn't stop believing in miracles, right? The devices did feel super fast and direct compared to their predecessors. This could be due to the touchscreen though, which is also improved. A good indication of performance is how long a device receives updates, and the S24 series will get 7 years of security and 7 years of Android updates. That's just amazing and super good news for everyone. It closes the gap between Google and Apple. And yes, even the Exynos will get 7 years of updates. Okay, let's talk about artificial intelligence for a bit, because there are many things that this phone can do. First of all, you can take phone calls with people that don't speak your language at all and the phone will translate them. This also works in chats and with text and also offline. Also, you can use the voice recorder now and it detects which person is speaking. Even weeks later, it will also detect the same person again and you can shorten the transcript that the recorder makes. It can do pretty much everything the Google Pixel can do, and it is quite impressive because this is the first attempt of Samsung of doing AI on a large scale. You can now mark and move objects in pictures. This worked surprisingly well and fast. And you can rotate pictures and it will paint the pixels, and also it looked quite impressive. Reflections can be removed from photos and slow motion videos can be calculated even if there was no slow motion in the first place. This did not look super real, but it wasn't bad either. No matter when and where, you can hold down the home button for longer and then circle an image content and it will be searched with Google Lens. You can now edit text to make it more funny or more formal, and you can generate wallpapers using text. So it's the full package of artificial intelligence and everything worked quite well. Also, as a security feature, you can deactivate the cloud-based AI features with Samsung Knox. And also, artificial intelligence is a big part of the camera. And that is important because the hardware was not improved at all. The S24 Plus and S24 have the same technology built in as the predecessor. But you can now see HDR while taking a picture in the gallery and in social media. Only one camera has changed, and that is the tele on the S24 Ultra. It's not 10 times anymore, it's 5 times. But the sensor is 40% larger and has 5 times as many pixels. So Samsung says the quality is actually better even at 10 times. I don't want to judge the camera prematurely, but I was not blown away, but also I was not disappointed. So yeah, maybe I did expect a little bit more here than Samsung actually delivered. The battery in the S24 is 4000 mAh. In the S24 Plus it's 4900 and the Ultra is still 5000. In addition, they all charge really comfortably at 25 or 45 watts, so about an hour. The devices do support Qi2 wireless charging. However, there has to be an update in October and there are no magnets built in. So it's just a little bit faster and more efficient. The prices in Europe actually dropped this year by 50 euros, so it's 899 and 1150 respectively, and the Ultra is 50 euros more expensive and therefore 1450. Okay, it's time for a conclusion. I did not expect much by the new Galaxy S24 series and I was pleasantly surprised at the end. I think the design is a nice step forward, the displays are quite a bit more improved than I expected, and the artificial intelligence is everywhere and it worked quite well. I don't think it's time to say it's the end of the smartphone and the AI phone is the next thing, and AI phone does sound a little bit like iPhone, but yeah, I'm now thrilled to use those devices and there will be a review on my channel, so please consider subscribing and I will see you in the next one. Bye.